Alright, hello everybody. This is actually the third time I have recorded this video. Both the other two, I spent 15 minutes on each other video, and they both messed up. So, third time is the charm. Alright, enough of that rant. Today I'm going to be talking about mechanics adaptation. That's at least my name for it. There could be other game designers that talk about it in different ways, but I am talking about taking something else and adapting it into a mechanic for your game. If there is a mechanic of another game that you love and you just want to base a game around that mechanic, that is a mechanics adaptation. You take some other game and turn it into your own. You obviously have to adapt it, because otherwise that's copying. That's, you're not allowed to do that. That's plagiarism. But the same can be said for books and movies. You like a scene in something, you like a character, you can actually turn that into a game mechanic. And that's what this is about today. And that's why I chose to play Magic the Gathering Puzzle Quest for this video, is because the entire game is taking the Magic the Gathering card game and turning it into a match 3 Puzzle Quest game. And so they've had to do a lot of adapting for that. One of the things I do like is I can just look at these, these little boxes here, and because it's an adaptation of something else, I have a fairly good sense of what each of these do, because I know the source. So this is one of the things, is those books, movies that you like. If you want to make a game that's based around werewolves, people understand werewolves. They know how they work. They transform and go on rampages. They transform back and be like, oh crap, that wasn't me. It's okay. There's so much that can be said for kind of piggybacking off of popular culture or other game mechanics. Actually, one of the things, Mark Rosewater, head designer for Magic the Gathering, he said that one of the best piggybackings is in Plants vs. Zombies. It's a tower defense game. How those work is you choose what units you want to place on the battlefield, and those units have to stay where they are. And then the opponent comes along. It's a slow-moving wave of enemies. That's how most tower defense games work. And one of the issues is, well, if my tower is a knight with a sword, why doesn't he go help the dude right next to him? That was one of the biggest problems in a lot of tower defense games. So how Plants vs. Zombies did it was, how do you show that your towers can't move? They're plants. They're planted. They cannot move. It's in the name. And slow-moving waves of enemies? Zombies. He got so much value out of just using those two character types that the rest of the game was so easy for him to design. So mechanics adaptation is very powerful. It allows its ease of communication to the players. It lets them understand what you're going for. It's easier for you to explain. You don't need walls of text as far as why these two enemies are fighting. I mean, Plants vs. Zombies, I still want to know why the plants are thinking, but whatever. It's a good game. It's a good game. But so I decided to show Puzzle Quest because it also does this. Vexing Scuttler, for example, in the card game, the emerge ability says that you may sacrifice a creature to drop Vexing Scuttler's cost. In the Puzzle Quest game, that wouldn't be nearly as clean, also would be quite difficult to program, so how they do it is they say, when any creature you control dies, all creatures with emerge gain mana equal to their emerge. This is emerge 2, it would gain 2 mana. And that's great. That is a wonderful adaptation. Smuggler's Copter is a vehicle. The vehicles in the card game say that you have to tap or spend a creature in order to crew the vehicle. and the crew cost normally asks for the creatures that you tap to be a certain power. So how does crew work in this game? It could, they've chosen to make it whenever a non-token enters the battlefield, this card gains mana. It gains that much mana. So crew 3 gains 3 mana. And that's easy to understand. Yet again, works for every vehicle in your hand. You play one creature, all vehicles get mana. And it's a wonderful adaptation. It's very precise, very unique. It works very cleanly. Another thing that I thought is funny is that in the card game, you can have vehicles crew other vehicles, and in this game, when you play a vehicle, it is a non-token creature. So, all of the other vehicles in your hand get mana. Your vehicles are crewing other vehicles. It has this kind of Gurren Lagann-esque attachment way of doing things. The other thing is, this is a match 3 game. So another mechanic that's a little bit entertaining is Energize. So how it works is when you play a card with Energize, that many gems, so Energize 2 would make 2 gems start to glow blue. So those are your Energized gems. And in fact, your opponent knows that those are Energized gems, and they can destroy them. They can match them up, and they are gone now. And then Overload, when you match that many Energized gems or more, you get the bonus. So this thing makes 2 gems energized, and as long as you match 1 of them, you get 3 mana. Simple. Wonderful. Now, keep in mind that in this game, your Planeswalkers, when playing, they have a little loyalty bar. And it shows their abilities charging up. So, it shows how close you are to being able to use Flame Shot or Fireball. So, why couldn't they have just made a energy bar? In the card game, your energy is just a counter that you have. It's just on you. You have a dice or some marbles off to the side, and those are your energy. You spend them as you wish. You have a card that says, "Oh, pay 2 energy to do this effect." You just remove 2 marbles. You roll your dice down 2. Simple as that. But in this game, if you have multiple cards with an overload ability, each one of those will get the overload ability to go off. This one has an overload 2 effect, so you have to have 2 matches, or 2 energized gems in the same match. But then they get a bonus. This guy gets a bonus. But if you have 3 guys, that's the maximum you can have. If you have 3 guys on your side of the field, along with all these supports that have overload bonuses, each one of them triggers at the same time. Sorry, had a drink. So that's how mechanics adaptation work, is they take the source material and they adapt it to what their game needs. And I genuinely enjoy the way this game does it. My biggest question is with the overload. As I said, in the card game, it's just, this gives you energy, you may pay energy, and it says, just wrote out on the card, you may pay energy to get this effect. In this game, it's a new mechanic. There's Energize and Overload. Overload is actually a mechanic in the card game. So if they ever make cards with Overload for the Puzzle Quest game, what are they going to be called? Like, do they just rename Overload? Or do they just there's 2 Overloads now, or there's a completely different mechanic? It's a little entertaining, a little bit odd, but I am curious to see how that is going to work out for them if they ever get that far. I don't know when we would actually see Overload coming back. And mechanics adaptation, it's not just copy what has been done before. There's actually a very popular game. I read about it and did not write down the name, sorry. But it's based off of a mechanic from another game. Like, they loved that mechanic, and they wanted... But it was bogged down by all the other rules. It was... Literally, it's this side mechanic to the main game, and that side mechanic was more fun than the rest of the game. So they just made a game based on that. And that new game that was made because of that is genuinely popular. People love that game. So, mechanics adaptation, it's more than... It's not copy and paste. That's plagiarism. It's taking something you like and adapting it to what your game needs. What is the necessity of your game? Are you making a match 3, a tower defense, a trading card game? And how can you take that that scene from the movie, or that strategy, that real-time strategy mechanic, and turn it into something that your game can use? It's between using piggybacking to explain things easier for your players, between adapting the mechanics to what your game needs is very important. If you just took something and straight up copied it into your game would not be nearly as good. It could be very original, but if you just copied and pasted from another game just because, oh, that's the best part, your game will lack. It will not be as good as it could be. So, that was all I was going to say is mechanics adaptation. It's a important thing to learn how to do. I'm still working on it myself. I had a fairly good run with my latest game. My biggest problem was that I had themed it incorrectly. This is something that was pointed out to me just last week. So I am very interested in seeing what's going to happen once I re-theme the game. And pretty excited about that. So if there's anything that you'd like to add to the discussion, as I said, mechanics adaptation is what I've been calling it. There could be something that other game designers call it. But if you have anything at all to add to the discussion, go ahead, leave a comment. I love hearing from you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, all sorts of self-promotion-y jazz. And have a good day. Okay? Thanks.